everyone, it is Jazz here. If you guys are looking for a book haul video, you have come to the right place because I am doing a book haul video today. Woohoo! For the second time this year, my mom and I decided to go to our local library's library book sale, which for me is just a scary place because I'm a book addict and there's just so many cheap books in one place. So I did go a tiny bit crazy. I ended up getting 20 books. So that very same day, we ended up stopping by Target. I ended up coming home with 2 more books from Target. So I bought 22 books in one day. Please help me. I thought I would share both my Target purchases and my library book sale purchases. Let's get to talking about them. First up, I got the To the Green Angel Tower Part 1 and 2. I believe these are actually supposed to be like one book that it was split into parts because it was quite a long book, and it is the third and final section of a trilogy, which is the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn trilogy. I do intend to start this series at some point in my lifetime. I'm gonna finish Tad Williams's Otherland series first. So even though these are kind of like the final parts of that book series, I think I will have definitely time to find the books in the series that are previous to these, and I thought, why not go ahead and get what I can get of the series for a good deal. Don't know too terribly much about the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series other than it's high fantasy and it's Tad Williams, which is a hook for me just by itself because of the 3 Tad Williams books that I've read. I've really loved his world building and I've really loved his writing, even though he writes really huge books. Next up, we have kind of a classic book or a modern classic book, and it is a copy of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Now, I really do feel like I need to eventually get to reading this book just because I never read it in school, but I do want to read it because it is referred to in a lot of different things in pulp culture and other books, and I think it would just really enrich my reading to go ahead and read it. We have a really interesting vintagey looking copy of Daphne du Maurier's book Rebecca. So I have read Rebecca. It's one of my favorite books, and I'm not gonna lie, I literally bought this book because of the book cover. I thought it was so interesting. It really references the book really well, and I think it's actually kind of advertising a older mystery television version of Rebecca, which I have never seen, but I love that it looks like artwork and stuff like that. And I feel like the current editions of Rebecca have such like boring book covers that even though this is kind of an old cover, I literally thought this cover is so cool and I just kind of want to look at it on my shelf. Then I got My Antonia by Willa Cather. This is supposed to be a book about a pioneer woman and what kind of happens to her. I really love historical fiction like that. I've heard that Willa Cather is really an interesting author, and that's more why I bought this book than anything, because I've heard about her from different things on the internet, and so I was immediately intrigued by her books, and since I saw one of her books, I thought I would definitely check out her writing. Then I got The Beautiful and the Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I've been wanting to read more Fitzgerald for a really long time. Really super loved The Great Gatsby, and then never got around to reading any Fitzgerald after that. And this one has always particularly intrigued me, I think because I really like the title, to tell you the truth. But also, I do think it will have some really interesting idiosyncrasies. I got the first book in the Ross Poldark series, which I believe is just called Ross Poldark, the first book, and it's by Winston Graham. So I've recently started watching the TV series. I'm really enjoying what I've watched of it so far. So when I saw this at the library book sale, I was like, it's a sign. I need to start reading this. And the way people make the book sound in terms of the way it's written really intrigues me. It is also another historical fiction, and I need to start reading more historical fiction. I figure yet again, at a low price, it's definitely worth checking this out, seeing if I enjoy it, and then seeing if I want to commit to the rest of the series. Next up, we have Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer? I'm going to pronounce that author's name wrong. So this book is about a 9-year-old whose father dies in the World Trade Center and sort of a journey from what I can tell. I've been wanting to read this book literally since the movie trailer for the movie came out. I didn't watch the movie because I wanted to read the book first, and that was like forever ago. Now I have finally gotten myself a copy of this book. Yet another book that I keep meaning to get to and then just do not seem to ever get to, and it is John Green's book Paper Towns. Yet again, watched the movie trailer, was even more inspired to want to read this book, never got around to actually getting the book and reading it. So I saw this and I thought it's a pretty well-conditioned paperback copy of this, and I am really intrigued by the story. I like a good road trip, which this seems like it's going to have some road trippiness, some investigation-ness in it going on. I've been meaning to read more John Green just anyway because I read The Fault in Our Stars, really loved it, never read any of his other books even though I intended to, so I'm hoping that I will really enjoy this one. Next one is one of my mom's picks, but I'm sure I will pick it up occasionally as well, and it is Keys for Writers, A Brief Handbook by Anne Rames. So this has little notes right here that you can flip through, and it's just basically tips for writers. We have quite a few writing books in our house, but we don't really have anything exactly like this one, so it should be an interesting thing to pick up every once in a while. On to talking about my fabulous hardcover finds, because to tell you the truth, when I get paperbacks, it's kind of just to test out if I like the book, but really what I'm looking for at a library book sale in particular is used hardcovers, because I like to get books that I really enjoy in hardcover again, or just originally get books in hardcover. One book that I did get in hardcover that I have read before is Scarlet by Alexandra Ripley, which is the official sequel to Gone with the Wind. On my channel, I have talked about how I don't really think this is the greatest book on the planet. I do think it has a lot of issues, and it's not just the fact that it's written by a different author than the original author of Gone with the Wind. However, I am sort of entertaining rereading Scarlet a second time because I do think I was a little harsh with my rating the first time, but also I have like a Gone with the Wind sort of shelf where I like stack Gone with the Wind related books, and then on top I put my Gone with the Wind movie box set. The Scarlet paperback kind of just like looks lame amongst the hardcover of Gone with the Wind and Rhett Butler's People, and then on top of it was just like kind of this sad paperback of Scarlet. So I thought just for aesthetically pleasing looking, I would get this inexpensive hardcover of Scarlet, because it would just add a nice thing to my Gone with the Wind stack. These next couple I'm really excited about because they are part of a manga series that I've been wanting to try out for a really long time, and they are volumes 1 and 2 of the Ultimate Editions of Fruits Basket. I believe they are about an orphaned girl who becomes involved with a family with a little bit of a secret going on, and I kind of vaguely know what that secret is, so that is going to be super fun to see what that turns out like when I get around to reading these. But I think this was a pretty good score. These are in really nice condition, and I'm super excited. I think these are going to be like just cute, fun reads when I'm in the mood for a manga. So yes. When I go to a library book sale, I cannot avoid the section that has Stephen King in it, and I just have to see what they have to offer Stephen King wise. So first of all, I did get a hardcover edition of his short story collection, Night Shift. So I did have a used, very old, kind of not so great condition paperback version of that book, but I found this really pretty excellent, nice condition of a hardcover of it, and I'm very super excited about it. And I ended up getting the first 2 books in Stephen King's trilogy, the Bill Hodges trilogy, I believe it's called Mr. Mercedes and Finders Keepers. Figure I can also get the third book used off of Amazon or something if I end up really liking these. And they are in great, pretty much unused kind of condition. So I'm really excited about this find. So then I got a nice hardcover edition of Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. This is a book that my mom has read and is really highly recommended. We do have it in paperback already, but we do try to get books that we intend to reread quite a bit in hardcover if we can. I have not yet read it, but I am planning to get to it next month, so I thought I would definitely just go ahead and get the hardcover. Then we have like a really nice edition to read and reread. And also, I think the hardcover cover that was like the original book cover is so very cool. I really love how it's laid out. I'm also really intrigued to just try the story out because I don't think I've read any historical fiction that has been set in Japan or is about geishas. The only thing that kind of makes me crazy is that I'm going to have to figure out how to remove the sticker, and hopefully it will be not a big deal, but you know, I'm thinking the sticker has been there for a long time, so we shall see. These next couple are definitely my mom's picks, but they are semi-cool picks. A landscape book by Southern Living, and it just kind of gives ideas for landscaping and different things like that. And as you can see, she's already marked some pages of things that she likes. I will try not to lose her spot. She also wants to do a vegetable and fruit garden, so she got this Better Homes and Gardens vegetable and fruit gardening made easy book that seems like it's gonna be really helpful to her. Last book from the library book sale, and it's called Fairies by Brian Froud and Alan Lee. I probably pronounced everybody's name wrong. I just thought this book was the coolest thing because it has all these sketches and drawings of different kinds of things in the fairy world and fairy mythology, and it is really beautiful to look at because of these fabulous bits of artistry. It's also got like these little handwritten passages that are really cool, and I think it's just such a cool book. I think if I ever decided to write something about fairies, I would definitely be flipping through this book to get ideas. There are some really interesting creatures in this that are featured that I have never heard of, and also some things that I've heard of that I didn't know different mythology about. So on to sharing my couple of Target books. These were very popular books that just intrigued me, and so I thought since they were 20 to 30% off, I would just pick them up. So the first one is yet another John Green book, and it is Turtles All the Way Down. Heard a lot of interesting stuff about this. I believe it is about a girl trying to track down a fugitive billionaire, which really intrigues me. I didn't score a signed copy at Target, although I know they have had those at occasion, but I think I would have probably had to go into my Target like the day the book came out for that to be a possibility. But I'm still happy that I got this lovely copy, even if it is not signed, because it's about reading the book. Am I right? And the second book that I got at Target was another Stephen King related book. This is the book that he wrote with his son Owen King. It is called Sleeping Beauties. I've been intrigued by this book since I heard that it was coming out, and I believe it is about a situation in which every woman, when they go to sleep in the world, becomes kind of wrapped in this cocoon and like is in an eternal sleep, but there's like one woman that's immune to it. And that is a very interesting premise. But I also have to say that I just think this book cover is beautiful. It is so dang cool. I didn't buy it for the cover, but I definitely think that is something that should be said about it. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get around to reading Sleeping Beauties because it is one of those tomey tomes, so I'm thinking I'm not going to get around to it till next year, but I am very intrigued by it. And so I hope that I will like it when I get to it. So that was my flipping massive library sale / Target book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me just chat about these 22 books, most of which I have not read. But if you have read some of these books and have an opinion on them, definitely let me know in the comments what you thought of them. I will be back here on Sunday with a new video, which will be my October favorites video, so definitely check that out. I will see you all on that day. Thank you for watching, fabulous people. Bye!